Hello and welcome to So Farscape.
A fun-filled Farscape fancast by a fervent fan.
And a frankly fascinated first-timer.
I'm Cocky.
I'm Kay. And this is
the story So
Farscape.
Farscape. Okay, everybody. We're finally on Liars, Guns of Money, which is... Okay, I struggle not to give too much away about what this show sort of evolves into, but we are at peak Farscape. This is what the whole season has been building toward. Apparently, like when at the very beginning of the season, David Kemper already had in mind, okay, by the end of this season, we're going to rob a bank.
Okay, yeah, it's episode 219, A Not So Simple Plan, which is the first part of, well, at least 2, but maybe 3, and who knows, might even be 4. It's like... Apparently, last season we saw a very long, drawn-out season ending, and I'm not sure how many episodes in this season. It's going to be at least 20, so...
So I'm going to give you a very careful... Right, so this is the first of the last 4 episodes of this season.
Okay, so it's 22.
Yes, there are 22 episode seasons. So this is part 1 of Liars, Guns and Money, and... Well, since we've had a few multi-parters so far,
yes,
do you want to put any points down right at the start of the episode to see how many episodes do you think this Liars, Guns and Money arc is going to be, Kay?
Ooh, that's a very sneaky one.
You've got a lot of points, but you have been bleeding them off. In fact,
yes.
You've already lost some points this episode on a very recent bet.
Oh, which one was that?
Well, you bet that we wouldn't see Stark within 2 episodes, and here he is.
Yep, no, totally. Although...
Doesn't count. The hiatus doesn't count.
No, I get
episode.
that. I refuse to accept that at this point.
Interesting move. Let's see how it works out for you.
We haven't proven yet that this is actually Stark.
Now he's getting it. All right.
So I'm not accepting that we are seeing Stark yet. So
the point is conceded. The jury has consulted, and they're nodding over there. All right.
I have my suspicions.
So I'm going to call this a not even double or nothing. Actually, yeah.
Oh,
I'm kind of loving this. So are you betting that we're going to find out that Stark is an imposter this season?
Yes. I'll put 50 points on that.
Hell yes! This is how you play. Oh, I'm so hyped for this episode. I've said this before many times. I've looked forward to sharing this with you. I've looked forward to sharing a lot of episodes with you. But Liars, Guns and Money, it is so peak Farscape. I mean, it's Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh yeah,
you can see why it was based on.
Yes,
right?
Also Ben Browder's acting is like almost taken up a notch, I'd say.
Right?
Yeah.
Everybody gets stuff to do, and it's just okay. So I remembered Liars, Guns and Money as a whole. I had forgotten how much of that is already in this one episode. Like, all of these various plots, and we've got a whole bunch of synopses that we can talk about. Like, in my memory, they were sort of diffused over multiple episodes. I genuinely can't wait to see what I've forgotten about the next however many episodes are in.
This is going
however
to take...
the arc.
All right, I'll put down another 50 that this arc is going to last until the end of the season.
Let's see how that works out for you. Let's first read our synopses, because I think our audience, maybe not everybody, remembers what Liars, Guns and Money 1, A Not So Simple Plan is about.
Yes, so Wookiee is fine, says, Ocean's 11 has got nothing on this. A foolhardy plan to rob a bank goes awry when a recurring enemy throws a monkey wrench into the crew's plans. Featuring black latest BDSM, blue girls, a chip-tacular twist, and the bad kind of bed bugs.
I think he meant to say just Wookiee, but yeah, when you on the handy dandy form, which by the way you can find at sofarscape.com/submit, where you can submit your own synopses. Please don't use any characters' names and keep it funny. Like if you put in a handy comment there, we will read it out loud. We're like Ron Burgundy in that regard. Next up, the crew does an Ocean's 11 plot so they can buy a child. Ooh. Everything gets way more complicated almost immediately, but for once, it's not strictly the crew's fault. Thanks, Horsebird. Pardon me, Hersebird.
And a crewmate appears mad talking to the Phantom's mask, but then my side inexplicably returns with your side is full of doubt. A fanatic father forces the crew's hands on an impossible heist at the deadliest bank in the galaxy.
Whoa.
Scorpy's dominatrix has an eye for fantasy. A space pirate and her parrot aren't there for sea shanties. I didn't see a parrot. And nobody expects...
I need storage for 1 soul a day. 1 soul a day.
Ah, her parrot, yes. And nobody expects the dreaded Hynerian horse. Oh, the things people will do for some KFC. And thank you. Okay, Matatron.
Matatron,
yes.
We're only halfway through. These are so good. An old friend returns with a plan to get Dargo's son from the slave traders. How far will a crew of Moya go to help one of their own? Only time will tell. Thanks, Billy Roberts.
And Jenna says, a blue pirate with a grey parrot put a prize in Frau Blucher's Cracker Jack box.
I don't know who Frau Blucher is.
No, I don't either.
Apparently, a lot of people recognize Chiana as essentially a pirate's parrot.
I mean, that's what she does in this episode. She kind of she's like that little, what is it, flunky who is just constantly mirroring or aping whatever the boss says.
Yes. Essences floating in the sky. Time to get the band together to enter a shadow. Awesome blue-assed bitch pirate, leather-clad Medusa, stabbing copulation, exploding paste, mental blocks, insert the rod, and wealth can be destructive. Thanks, Test Monkey 6K.
And you'd be out of your mind to follow one of this guy's plans, but the crew simply must find out if crustaceans can walk in stilettos. Thank you, Eunice, for that.
Also, AKA Felicity AKA Chris, one of the coolest people we've ever met. Wow. Where to even begin?
Well, I mean, all of these are completely accurate and, they give a good impression, or at least a good impression of what the episode is all about.
Prepare for starburst!
We open on the command where Zan, in her cool vestments, is hugging Stark's mask to her chest.
Clearly still distressed about the loss of him.
Yeah, and Crichton carefully goes, "Hey, Zan, hey, buddy, are you sure we should still be out here?" And she sort of bites his head off and he slinks away. And then we've got the peanut gallery of Dargo and Chiana just waiting in the door, sort of going, no, go back, do it again. Like, apparently everyone's already taken a turn.
And now it's John's turn to have a go and convinced that Zan is on a useless mission because she's had a vision. The mask has been talking to her, telling her to follow some sort of thing.
Follow the Nexus coordinates.
But we've been following them for 3 solar days.
Just follow them, pilot.
Nexus coordinates, which is very frustrating to Dargo, because they'd found the location where his son was going to be sold in a lot of slaves.
There's a conflict of interest between Zan's desire to go look for Stark and Dargo's desire to immediately go and find his son, to which Zan correctly says that, like, well, we don't have any money to buy him anyway, so... And Dargo is like, well, we'll find another way.
Yeah, like, both of them make a very good point. She says,
"We have no currency, Dargo. We cannot save your son. But we can save Stark."
Dargo says,
"Stark is gone, but my son is still alive."
Accept it, yeah.
Both of them are very powerful points, but what's so interesting about it is that Dargo feels he needs to convince Zan, right? In order for Moya to actually change course. It doesn't seem to occur to them to just overrule her and, I guess, give Pilot new orders.
Do we have a consensus?
Reverse course. We leave here now.
I distinctly got the impression that Dargo was feeling guilty for wanting to quit that search.
Oh, yes. He does feel some guilt over what happened to Stark. He feels he misjudged him and, like, certainly feels that he's partly responsible for Stark's execution at the hands of the Placavians, which we saw a few episodes ago.
Yes, the Placoids.
The Placoids, that's right, in The Ugly Truth.
Placovoids.
It's Lex.
Whatever.
But the conflict of interest is quickly resolved when not just Zan sees Stark, because the mask lights up.
Yes.
And it was, I noticed that, like, it seemed distinctly digital to
holographic,
me.
Right?
Yes.
Don't stop, Zan. Hurry. I'm dying.
That's when I first started suspecting shenanigans.
Right.
Yeah, because it didn't seem like a mental vision like the things that we're used to from Stark. I mean, Stark's abilities have always been very non-visual, you know? He just, like, walks up to someone and other than the glowing of his eye, all of the things he does, there's never been any visuals. So the fact that someone would suddenly become visually present, that his mask suddenly takes on his face.
Okay, I celebrate your paranoia. This is glorious. This is what almost 2 years in the uncharted territories has done to your innocent mind, much like John Crichton, who, I mean, he's been feeling this as well, right? He's been feeling these
this flash.
He discovered what they were in Won't Get Fooled Again, and then the memories were quietly erased.
Although it does seem during this episode that everybody is much cooler about him having, occasional Scorpius visions. I mean, he's clearly come out about that they're happening. And even Aaron at multiple times during this episode goes like, Scorpius again? Yeah, Scorpius again.
It's not Scorpius, you're having visions again.
So that was a little... Okay, so we'll get there shortly, because that one actually a little bit confused me, because nobody was there to experience, the aftermath of his encounter with the neural clone during his torture by the Scarran. And then afterward, he didn't talk about it, like he couldn't.
No.
Even when the neurobiotracer was soaking up the mind-cleansing drugs... Anytime that he tried to talk about what was happening, he just sort of lost his train of thought and didn't finish his sentence because it seemed like he couldn't think about it anymore.
But even before that, he was already showing occasional bouts of weirdness. When he shot the corridor and Aaron was going, and
he's in my head.
He's been talking about that kind of thing. So it seems like that he's been more or less accepted that he's still being troubled, and I assume that Aaron is just thinking it's PTSD or something along those lines.
If she even acknowledges that such a thing exists, but I mean, she's a peacekeeper. They must have some kind of regimen for that.
You'd think so. Also, Zahn seems to have a new robe.
I think she's worn it once or twice before. I think it's usually outerwear. Chiana also has her sexy new outfit that she got in Home on the Remains that she hasn't really gotten a lot of use out of, but she's got that back on again. Yeah, so I think maybe that's why John... No. I was going to say that's why John can relate to Zahn, because he's also been a little bit insane, but he doesn't really. In fact, he doesn't really relate well to anyone, especially Dargo.
Yes.
And we're worried about Dargo.
The mask lights up, and John is also now convinced that, apparently Zahn is not just being wishful thinking, because a ship appears on sensors with a fading life form on board.
Yes.
They grab it in the docking web and haul Stark on board.
Actual CGI docking web, by the way. You actually see it this time.
Oh, yeah.
Previously, it was just sort of implied, and they follow the docking dildo, but now you see an actual really cool sort of netting effect around it. It's brought on board, and a sort of towel-wrapped Stark is brought aboard, who is ranting and raving because he has a plan to save Dargo's son.
It's all here, Dargo. Everything.
Be calm, Stark, be calm.
What is this dread? How will it help me save my son?
I've got a plan.
Stark, your life signs are still weak.
Which all seems a little bit too convenient to me. Stark suddenly shows up again. He apparently survived. He managed to reform, and he immediately went to work to go and find something to rescue Dargo's son.
When I dispersed, I instantly traveled to locate these plans and blueprints, and then I reconstituted the shell of this body and stole a ship to come find you.
So there's shenanigans.
Sounds perfectly fine to me.
Yeah, no, there's shenanigans here. This is it's all a little bit too convenient. He has the perfect plan to do a bank heist.
You're right. It is perfect and absolutely flawless and goes completely according to plan. That is very suspicious how well everything goes. Now that you put it like that.
But also the way that he appeals to everybody a little bit. Well, several players. So he appeals to Dargo because, of course, we're doing this to rescue his son.
Yeah.
But he also throws in comment about riches and everything to clearly lure Rigel and Chiana in, who have both been very skeptical until they realize, oh wait, we can actually make a lot of money. And then suddenly they become a lot more receptive to this idea of his.
Oh, Chiana is straight, as soon as he says, we're going to rob a bank, she's
I'm
in.
Yeah.
What, you mean like a bank?
Yes.
Are we going to rob a bank?
Yes.
I am in. The only one he doesn't really seem to talk to is Zahn.
Right, true, yeah.
Whereas, maybe he's already done all his talking to her through the mask message or hologram. Yeah, she's been tending to him, peels his cloth wrappings off. We see
puts his mask back on, which seems to give him great comfort.
Huge relief, because he talks about how his body is only a molecular creation. There's a bunch of Farscape no babble. Scape no babble?
Scabble.
Who's going to figure out what scabble means?
Okay. Farscape.
Getting farther away from it. That sounds like a great game. That's probably like the game that Pilot is secretly playing on his console. That
With all the other pilots.
Yep, it does nothing except just playing Farscape. That's literally, it's Farscrabble. Like it's FD. Okay, yeah. Because what he has is a set of plans, blueprints for a depository, but specifically a shadow depository.
Yes.
Wait a microt. Are you talking about a shadow depository?
Something that Rigel and Aaron both recognize. A shadow depository is where illicit goods are being kept. Oh, actually, good point. That's how he assuages Zan's concerns that, so we're going to rescue Dargo's
by
son.
stealing property from other people, and yes.
And he goes, yeah, but it's okay, because it's all from assholes.
It is one that services only criminals who wish to hide what they have stolen from others.
Oh, well, all right. That's all right, then.
Because, only assholes would keep their money at a shadow bank, I suppose. I mean,
criminals wanting to hide their ill-gotten goods.
Yeah, but that implies there's some sort of overreaching government in the galaxy, which, I mean, I think of a bank like this would be kind of like the Switzerland of the Outer Territories, the Uncharted Territory. Yeah.
The Uncharted Territories are not as uncharted as some condescendingly like to claim. So, I mean, it seems like a perfect plan. Lots of people are very enthusiastic about it. Not so much Aaron.
Their arsenal would be massive. This is suicide.
No. She says that the shadow bank, she's seen one before, and they tend to have more weaponry than a Gamak base, which I noticed.
Got that?
Yes.
Very good.
So apparently Gamak base was not, just a type of base, not the name of that particular base.
It's been left ambiguous so far, because they always talk about his Gamak base, and so are there more? Now we know.
Yes.
Our Gamak base is, maybe it's because it's in a secret location, like for the Peacekeepers to actually operate a base in the Uncharted Territories, and it was also like on an abandoned moon, under an abandoned installation, super duper secret.
On an abandoned moon filled with oil, covered in oil, I suppose.
Yeah, with, in hindsight, actually not really weaponry on the surface or sensors.
No.
So when she says it has more weapons than a Gamak base, maybe it has any weapons at all.
She might have been referring to just the amount of soldiers on the base with
good
carrying
point,
firearms.
Which were plenty, yeah.
Yeah, because lots of folks were walking around with guns in this episode.
And now we get to John. I thought he was kind of out of character, because John tries to convince Dargo, hey, this is impossible.
Yeah.
Right? Based on Aaron's perspective. And I would expect him to have Dargo's back more.
Yes, because Dargo is pretty much forced to set off on his own.
Well, this is the only way we can save my son. We must consider it.
Dargo, wait. No. I know this is important. I know you want to do this. But if it's not possible...
You won't even consider this?
I just don't see how we...
Well, fine. We'll go without you. We'll go without all four of you.
He correctly says, have I ever questioned... when you had a plan, have I ever questioned whether it was possible? Now, okay, Dargo would make a good lawyer. You have questioned every plan he has always had, but it's true. You've never said it specifically. It was impossible.
No.
So this is a huge sort of wedge, because even Chiana tries to mediate. She tries to convince Dargo that she's on his side, but also that he should maybe listen a little bit more than he's doing.
Yeah.
But he rejects that as well. He calls them all cowards and he stomps off.
Yes, Chana's definitely doing her social lubricant job again, which seems to be her natural role.
She's usually quite good at it. She's very insightful, but she is quite young as well. And she hasn't earned the sort of respect that some others enjoy in Dargo's eyes, I think. Affection, certainly.
Despite the fact that they're frelling, yeah.
Yeah.
Dargo takes one of the pods and sets off for the bank, which is, of course, conveniently within reach.
It's within the range of a transport pod from here.
Aaron and John put on their cool coats and go after him.
Take the prowler.
It's nice and intimate. They fly through this planet-based building structure.
Yeah.
It looks amazing.
It's a little bit Blade Runner-esque.
There's been a lot of that lately, isn't there? And it's all these tall structures, this sort of industrial look. Everything's worn and weathered. It's raining as well, as it apparently always is in LA in 2019.
Acid rain, man.
And they land on this building that is, what do you describe it? It's an 8-pointed star. It's basically 2 squares overlaid at 45 degrees of one another, which is a running motif through the biggest sets that anyone in this production had ever been on, including like Claudia Black and producer Tony Winley, who'd both worked on Pitch Black.
I mean, that building is clearly a matte painting, but then the insides are just like inside of buildings. It's like they don't look particularly huge. Sets.
Really?
No.
Look at the ceilings. They're so high. They're enormous, and there's so many of them.
That's big.
It's very big.
Kay, I'm heartbroken. I'm heartbroken that you're not as stunned by this as I am. No, of course, you were jaded by the decades of like television production that have followed, but this was the 90s, man. It was 2000. Like, we hadn't even seen Battlestar Galactica, where, when we saw the hangar bays in BSG, that was amazing, especially because they had all the fantastic CGI set extensions, but... Man, these ceilings were so tall. There's a constant motif of these octagon stars, squares and rectangles, and really lovely colors. Like, it reminded me of, we've talked about it before, a theme park called the Efteling, which has some, exotic locations in...
Right, there's greens and pinks and...
See, this is kind
almost like fairy lights.
They're great colors, though. This is totally how I would decorate my lair if I would ever have
pink
to have
and green
one.
Is fantastic. I think it's more teal than green.
Very good.
I would say.
And more salmon than pink.
Yes.
Pink is tacky.
You look great in pink.
John and Aaron show up doing a fantastic Neo and Trinity as they're walking down into the...
Oh my God, you're right. Yes, they're so slick and so black, and they're just walking... Wow. They really are Neo and Trinity just sex walking through
watching the goings on. Lots of guys with guns, lots of... It exudes the atmosphere of shady deals done here.
Yes, lots of goggle guards, that's how you can tell them.
Yeah.
Conveniently walking in between the camera and the heroes, walking back and forth for no reason. We see a little sort of psychodrama play out where a white-haired man is talking to a sort of blue crab woman.
A typical Star Trek alien, I would call it.
Really?
Yes.
All right. Have we ever seen an alien of this caliber on Star Trek, though?
Well, I'm talking about it's the planet of the four heads again. Yeah.
Wait, are you talking about the blue crab woman?
Yes, the one who runs the base.
Yeah?
I mean, she could have walked out of any Star Trek episode.
I defy you to point out a Star Trek episode with full body sex makeup like she has with things on her hair. Okay, maybe season one, The Next Generation. Maybe I'll give you that. Where you have like the Anticons and the Soleil.
Something like that, yeah.
Okay, but after that, it's all dudes with foreheads and weird wigs. And,
true. I mean, Borg Queen.
Yeah, okay. Borg Queen was first in the movie, though.
True. But still Star Trek, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I got a lot of those vibes from that.
Do you know, Dave Elsey, he created this for this actress, and she's called Claudia Carvin. And she's a big deal in Australia. I forget the rest of her credits. Many apologies to Claudia Carvin. She was originally cast as the princess in the Look at the Princess trilogy.
Oh.
And she rejected the role because she said, if I'm going to be on Farscape, I want to be a monster.
Fair point.
And so Dave Elsey just rubbed his little hands together and said, oh, have I got some plans for you? We're going to make you into a crab woman. And then the producers saw these sketches and they said, what the fuck? We just spent a fortune on one of the most gorgeous women in all of Australia.
And we're completely covering her with makeup.
Yeah, what are you doing? And this was their opinion. But while this argument was ongoing, they had 10 days before shooting. They still had to build it.
Oh, damn. That's a quick job then.
So, well, I mean, all the jobs had to be that fast. That was the pressure that Dave Elsey and the Creature Shop were under. But so he was building this unapproved, the full-body prosthetic that only he and Claudia were enthusiastic about. But then even on the day of shooting, he wasn't sure whether anyone liked it.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
But I can imagine that she'd say that, like, I want to be an alien or I want to be a monster. I mean, we've heard Gigi Edley say the same thing, where it's fantastic that you can be one of the creatures from the Creature Shop.
Yes.
You can be an alien. You can be some weird monster alien. I can see the appeal to that people would love to do that.
Okay. Let's look at the aliens that we've had. How would you sort of rate your odds, certainly in the second half of season 2? If they say, okay, I say to you right now, you can be an alien on Farscape. Yeah. Okay, cool. Now, you could be a placovoid. Mm-hmm. Would that be something that you would show your friends?
It depends.
Or would you want to be a sexy, beboobed, high-heeled crab woman?
Well.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, that might be worth it.
I could see myself as that red dude from the first time we saw, what's his name again? the episode.
The red dude. Oh, with Moldus.
Yeah, the first time we saw Moldus.
Yeah, Zan Squeeze. Oh, what's his name again? Well, I'm sure I'll edit it in here. Liko is his name.
Okay, I didn't catch
But I've got him as the magenta magician or the flirty herbalist.
Ooh, very good.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so here comes the first of 3 D&D gambits. Because, Crichton sees this psychodrama play out with this man who is bullying Natira, as we learn her name is.
Don't forget who I am.
I haven't.
She turns out to be the owner of the Shadow Depository. This man says, well, I hope you don't forget who I am. And she says, yes.
You're nobody here. But do as I say, and we'll let the relationship unfold.
Yes.
Ooh.
But John sees that person as Scorpius.
Yes. So he grabs Aaron, pulls her aside. Look out. Don't look now. It's Scorpius. Yeah. And she... No, it's not. Go, look.
What?
Scorpius.
Where?
Over there. Talking to that weird blue alien.
And that's where she is already used to the point that he's like having these little visions. She doesn't particularly react to this. I mean, she reacts to it okay, she checks and then she sees it's not, and then she's not surprised that John is having another Scorpius vision.
She's a very good caretaker for him. So, But shortly thereafter, they accidentally set off the weapon scanners because they have arrived with weapons, which is apparently a no-no.
Hand over your weapons.
John immediately goes into his oh, good, we were just checking out security spiel.
Good. Very, very good.
D&D Gambit number 1. When you get caught by the guards, pretend you were testing them. It is tried and true, and it works 100% of the time in D&D. Every time that I've tried it, it has always worked flawlessly, and it's never immediately failed.
60% of the time, it works every time.
They're accosted by Akor. He has a sort of Zazu major domo kind of look to him.
I can see that, yeah. It's the high forehead and the long nose.
Just, excuse me, what did you think you were doing? And then he says, okay, well, I was testing you because we have something very valuable. Do you remember what the valuable thing is?
It was KFC.
KFC?
What is that?
Yeah, well, we finally managed to collect the 12 secret ingredients, and I mean, it works.
He even uses a line that Scorpius has told him before, because he says that it's unique.
Unique.
And unique is always valuable.
Unique in the universe, and unique is always valuable.
In the meantime, Dargo is sneaking around.
Yes, they've spotted Dargo before they were interrupted by the fake Scorpius spotting.
Right.
And Dargo is now using this opportunity, this distraction, if you would, to try and get into the vault.
Do they know? Are they deliberately stalling to buy time for Dargo, or are they just stalling to save themselves? What do you think?
Yeah, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other.
Well, it depends on whether they know.
They didn't mean to get caught. They saw they spotted Dargo. They wanted to talk to him, but I don't think they're particularly at this point trying to buy time for Dargo.
Right.
It might be a little bit of both. It's maybe a added benefit
or
something. Dargo doesn't get far. The door opens, the alarm goes off, everybody jumps on him. He goes down like a lead balloon. I mean, I was thinking at first, is this a bit of Worf effect here, but no, it's probably just for plot purposes.
It's like 8 dudes.
Yeah.
Converging on him, and then Natira walks up in her fantastic crab armor boots, and she has these beautiful lines.
As a race, Luxons can be inartful at love, inadequate at war, and intrinsically inept.
I almost thought that David Kemper wrote it. No, it's Grant McAloon, who had also written Durka Returns, and she talks about how their Luxons are inartful at love,
war, and
inadequate at war, but this one is intelligent. It's such a lovely, just playing with syllables for no reason. She's having so much fun. She's doing she's doing a great job at articulating with those teeth.
They're dragging him off, and he is to be interrogated.
Yeah, let's not disappoint him.
What the plan is.
John and Aaron Scarper, sort of violating D&D tenets in this case by breaking up the party so they can go back to Moya, where John can accost Stark.
Dargo is down there because of you! Look,
You left him no choice. He had to.
Yes, he kind of jumps him, throws him to the ground, starts assaulting him almost.
Aaron takes a turn as well.
What are you talking about?
The plan to get Dargo back and to rob the depository.
But you put the whole place on security alert!
He says this was all part of the plan.
And Stark doesn't sound like Stark at this point.
It's all part of the plan, you see.
All right, who does he sound like?
Ooh.
Or, well, okay, so that was a leading question.
Yeah, I would say that.
Sorry, because to me, he appears like Stark appeared in Nerve when we first meet him.
My side, your side, my side, your side, my side, your side.
Which is later revealed, in the cell.
Yeah.
Right, my side, your side, he even does that.
Yes.
Which is later revealed to be a ruse by Stark, pretending to be crazy. But this time, like that kind of mania, that is how he expresses himself, like these huge bursts of emotion, and then returning to a lower emotional state with no in between.
I kind of that one escaped me. The my side, your side. I didn't. Now I recall that it was in this episode, and then it happened in the cell as well.
Oh, very good.
Yes, no, that one. Very interesting. But yeah, to me, he doesn't sound like the calm and collected Stark. He has another purpose. He's like there's something that he's not letting on.
Devil's advocate. He has been executed.
True.
And had to reconstitute his molecular form.
True.
That may have something to do with it.
Maybe. If we play Stark at straight value, he is very determined to get Dargo's son back to him.
Yeah.
So for some reason, he is very invested in that. And I mean, that is possible.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm wondering why. And to me, it felt that he was not acting like Stark. And I mean, there might be an explanation for that. But still, he didn't feel like himself.
Oh, yeah, no, I mean, I'm into these.
I'm just saying, my suspicion of him kept building during the entire episode.
Entirely valid, because, when these episodes were airing, the message board were aflame. They lit up like a Christmas tree. So I love that this is where you're going with it. Because nobody knows what to think. Aaron and John are being incredibly violent towards Stark.
Yes.
But they kind of reluctantly have to
go with his plan. Because apparently he basically allowed Dargo to trigger the alarm, which means that they now have to reset the codes, and that will give him the opportunity to basically hack into the system and take control. Which he didn't tell them about, because then they wouldn't let Dargo get captured, or because there's no other way to trigger the... it's all suspicious, It's always like it's always too convenient with Stark.
Okay, playing good cop.
Yeah.
I think that after Dargo stormed out and called them all cowards, and before he left with his transport pod, he and Stark had another conversation.
Okay.
Where they devised this plan together. Like, okay, these are the stakes, this is what I need. I need to get access to the security systems, and for that to happen, their security systems have to be triggered. And then I think that Dargo was quite okay with him being captured if it would, A, allow access to the security systems,
and B, get everybody else involved.
Force, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, interesting hypothesis. No way for it to be tested,
right.
But yeah, no, it's possible. Yeah, it's a good theory. I like it.
Dargo's being tested.
Yes, in the BDSM ball, or
yeah.
So there's this weird acrobatic sphere which he's been strapped to the outside. I mean, that's the worst fucking BDSM wreck ever. And besides, they've got him on the wrong way around. It's like.
Yes, it is a BDSM boudoir here. This is Natira's chambers, as we discovered.
They're just beating him up a little bit, which is fine, apparently.
Squeezing his tenkas. She even asks him whether he enjoys pain.
Which he doesn't answer.
Yeah, it's got these beautiful, huge windows with these bars. It's really
raining
gorgeous.
Outside again, as it always is there.
Very Blade Runner. We cut back to Moya, where a new plan is being enacted, and a plan that includes entombing Rigel.
Yes, he's being 3D printed into a statue.
While Chiana and Zahn deal with his incessant prattling about how 7% isn't enough, how does that math work out?
I don't know.
10% of this plan is lunacy. 50% of these riches is not enough. 100% of that is dead.
I mean, we have... How many people do we have? We've got John, we've got Aaron, we've got Chiana, we've got Dargo, we've got Zahn, and we've got Rigel. So there's 6 people on board.
Yeah, not counting Pilot, who probably doesn't
want to... I mean, that's... Okay, 100 divided by 6 is 17...
Yeah,
17-ish. Yeah.
Okay, so they get you 17%, but there's also Stark.
Yeah.
But the first cut goes to buying Jothi, who's in a lot of 10,000 slaves. So it must be like 1/6 or 1/7 of whatever is left over of the presumed worth of what they're going to steal, after subtracting the presumed worth of the slaves, which are being sold at auction. So you don't even know what the price is going to be.
Just
unless they have a space eBay buy it now price.
Okay, yeah, no, I'll accept that. But a percentage of whatever is left, a percentage of the profit after they buy the slaves or buy Jothi free. Yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Chiana and Zahn swallow some pills that she gives them, which immunizes them to a gas that she douses Rigel with in order to slow down his metabolism so that he doesn't appear on...
Doesn't quite work fast enough because he still keeps prattling around for a little bit until he goes unconscious.
10%, do you hear me? 10. I consider this an oral...
Strange. Should have been instantaneous. I'll have to adjust the mix next time.
Have none of you ever heard of, like, masks? Like a gas mask?
I know. It's like, I mean, why have a mask when you can take a pill?
Yeah.
Stark is, meanwhile, managing to hack his way into the security system.
He's been at it for 5 hours, and he's only got 1 hour left, as John reminds him. But then, boom, I'm in.
He manages it.
I'm in.
How convenient.
Oh, wow. You are super suspicious of everything.
I'm I'm super suspicious on Stark right now.
And this is where, okay, he's handing John a whole bunch of the, I don't know, code rods that he didn't quite get right.
Well, it's the things that he's supposed to be able to open all the doors with, which actually does work. Although, again, he doesn't say everything. It's like, turns out that, like, yes, you can open all the doors with it, but you will then alert yourself. So he seems to be holding back, Stark does, which doesn't seem to be like the Stark that we used to know.
Not just holding back, it's even worse. He tells John, after the my side, your side, go to your quarters, just do nothing. That's what Dargo says you're good at.
Oh, yeah.
And John pulls his gun, and he puts Winona up against his neck and says, don't lie. Did Dargo really say that about me? And Stark says no. And John doesn't really have a follow-up.
You want to guilt trip me, that's fine. Just don't lie to me.
Good.
This was so weird. What was this conflict about? He doesn't even seem to know.
It was a strange scene. Yeah, I also had a little bit of trouble following the dialogue at that point. So
right,
it was a bit of a
We had a bit of a Homebush Bay situation. We were inundated with rain, and much like in the Farscape studios, when it rains, you just can't fucking hear each other.
Zahn dresses up fantastically. Yes! She goes complete catsuit and eye patch, and
she was so happy. I get skin tight? Me?
No, only my face gets painted? It's like...
And I'm skin tight, and I get to be svelte, and I'm not constantly in all these light sort of draperies that make me look like a space meringue. I get to just be a foxy black leather like everybody else.
Amazing.
Oh my God. And she's so tough. Throughout this whole episode, she's got edge and attitude toward everyone.
Yeah, she walks in strutting like she owns the place, dismissing the door greeter, immediately going,
May I help you?
No, bring me whoever's in charge here.
I assure you, madam, I'm more than capable...
Don't elevate yourself. I know a functionary when one crawls in front of my face. Now fetch me your master like a good little minion.
I want to speak to the manager. It's like she's goes full Karen on that.
Yeah, no, I know a flunky when I see one.
Yeah.
And Chiana is so great. She's
Speaking of flunkies, Chiana's playing the perfect flunky here.
Oh, no, this is kind of rubbish. Shouldn't we go? Oh, come on, girl.
Better is whatever I say it is. I knew that.
Basically mirroring whatever clever comment Zahn makes, yeah.
Yes, in my world, that is the sound that a parrot makes. Okay, fine.
Okay.
Natira is interested and goes up to Zahn, who, with her eye patch, she introduces herself as Orala, and says that she has something extremely valuable for a very short-term deposit.
Time-sensitive goods. Short-term deposit.
Short-term.
Yeah, she only wants to deposit it for 1 solar day.
Yeah, which is unusual, but highly valuable.
Apparently, she doesn't ever leave the facility during that day. It's like she walks in, she walks into the bank, like, oh, I want to deposit this, and she walks around the bank for a little bit, goes like, oh, I'd like to withdraw it again. And the guy just goes like, oh, that's highly unusual. It's like, I told you it was going to be short deposit. Yes, but Why?
I live an unusual sort of life. That
Yeah.
is, well, it does seem to intrigue Natira, who also just seems to be wandering around the visitors' lobby.
She was standing in the teller's window when she was like talking to him.
And also Orala, so Zan, claims that Dargo was sent in to test their security system.
I had one of my operatives test your systems himself. He got halfway into your vault before you even noticed him.
The Luxon. He barely made it through the first door. He belongs to you.
He's still alive.
Last I checked.
They couldn't even kill a Luxon. Unbelievable. I will take him back now.
You'll take whatever I give you.
Oh.
How did he get our code?
It is not my job to plug your security leak.
Aaron and John are now acting as guards for
Yeah,
Orala.
which is just sort of accepted by everyone. Like their earlier skirmish apparently didn't really register on the whatever. It's great. In we go. Natira gives her a tour of the vault room. And there's a bit of a sort of Mivonk measuring contest between these two extremely tough, extremely sexy women. Like brings her up to the door where her new, what's it called? Her new deposit pod, is going to arrive. And it arrives really fast. And Zan takes a couple of steps back.
She actually flinches back, yes.
Which,
it's always a little bit...
Natira with one for Natira.
Yes. What did she say again? It's always a little bit intimidating the first time?
For the first
time, yes.
Yeah, it's such a blue pissing contest. Meanwhile, her bodyguards, John and Aaron, are regarding all this from the observation room, which is like a security station with a bunch of monitors, all of which are octagonal.
Yes, because they've been told that they weren't allowed to come to the vault with them, but they were allowed to watch it from the observation lounge, which I guess is the security center.
Which the security people leave after some whispering, which John says is rude, and then he gets all squirrely again. Aaron says,
Scorpius.
And he says, yes, Scorpius.
Because
and she says, no, Scorpius.
Because indeed, up shows Scorpius.
Do you remember in 2:18 A Clockwork Nabari, where I misremembered and thought that while they were pretending to be under attack, they actually came under attack?
Yeah.
This must be what I was thinking about, because while he's thinking that he's seeing Scorpius, no, you're actually seeing Scorpius. He has just arrived.
This time it's for real, yes. Scorpius, who also wants to make a withdrawal, and he's looking bad.
Yeah, he's sort of growling and lurching, and he's got Braca in his great biker outfit, and yet another sexy nurse, another PK Barbie. He insists on speaking to Natira. He's stopped by Zazu, by Akor.
Natira's policy on client confidentiality is very strict. I could lose my position.
Of course. Oh, I understand.
Who gets beat up immediately?
By Braca, yeah. Braca has this cool, like, kick him in the nads and then elbow him in the neck. It's such a power move. But they can't quite make the progress that they want to, because the nurse insists, okay, we have to exchange your cooling rods. And this is the first time that John and Aaron get to see it. Like, they see what happens, that the mincer comes out of his head.
Yes, Aaron immediately jumps to the right conclusion.
Yes.
Saying like, he's half Scarens for his heating problem. Yeah.
Somehow it makes complete sense for both of them that there's a cooling rod being inserted directly into his brain. And once he's back on his feet, we're treated to some really tense will they or won't they, because Natira is guiding Zan and Chiana toward the same doors that Scorpius is approaching. Oh, are they going to see each other? Ooh!
It's very well done. The same happens with John and Aaron later, but there's like a will they meet or not, but Natira excuses herself from Zan and tells her that her assistant will escort her out, and
just in time.
And she immediately goes to give Scorpius a very hearty welcome.
Natira!
Scorpius!
Oh, hello, Scorpy. So nice to see you again.
They're so handsy.
Yes.
We haven't met anyone who's as handsy as Scorpius so far. But she takes him up to her boudoir, where instead of the BDSM bowl, he sits in a fucking sling.
Yes. And things turn a little bit sour very quickly, because she apparently heard of the destruction of the Gamak base and decided to liquidate Scorpius's assets, basically seize his pod and apparently sell it right off.
I heard about the destruction of your Gamak base.
And you thought I was dead?
Well, I'm glad I was wrong.
You seized my property.
Well, of course.
It's just sparkling power play between them. I kind of wonder if Wayne Pygram, who plays Scorpius, and Claudia Carvin, who plays Natira, if they knew each other previously, if they had any sort of experience, because there is just electricity between them as they sort of bully each other, because she says, well, for your inconvenience, of course I'll reimburse you. Oh, no.
No, for my inconvenience, you'll provide me with triple the value.
And she actually agrees, because she knows,
Right?
she knows she's in the wrong.
Oh.
And apparently Scorpius, although he doesn't have a command carrier with him, still wields sufficient power to make problems for a shadow bank, or a shadow vault.
A shadow depository, yeah.
That's what it's called.
Yeah, we don't know what he's got. We know that the Nabari were harassed by a peacekeeper unit. No idea if that's a full command carrier, what he's got that he's traveling the uncharted territories with.
Well, whatever it is, it wasn't apparently not unique or irreplaceable. It was just valuable, because he readily accepts whatever it is that she is offering him.
The cash equivalent.
Yeah.
Back on Moya, Stark once again has to defend his plan against John and later on Aaron, showing off, no, there's no reason to panic. I've got a few more gadgets. I've got these comms, which we can now use because they're encrypted. Didn't have those before. And you have the sort of unlock every door magic key.
Passkey, yes.
Still, everyone's quite suspicious, but he says, no, don't panic. It's all going fine. It's all going fine. And they don't have any other option.
Dargo has been returned to Moya because of Zaan's successful bluff that he was just her security guard testing, being very callous about whether or not he's still alive. Oh, how convenient,
Yeah. She's Virginia Hayes is a good actress. Zaan is also a pretty good actress. I guess she's taken some lessons since her terrible performance at the Placavoids. Maybe they've had some one-on-one coaching with Gianna. No.
I guess maybe she's just these are bad people in her book, so therefore she doesn't mind being...
Oh, wow. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. She has flexible morality. It's like, if bad people, you don't have to be good. I mean, I guess that's true neutral or lawful evil. I'm not sure which.
I would need to rewatch all of The Good Place in order to figure out whether that's is it Kantian or is that Descartian?
Yes.
What kind of ethics?
Descartian or Decantian. I mean, that's what you do with wine, but
Chi is taking care of Dargo, who is recuperating under 2 layers. He's got a Moya skin flake, and he's also got some furs on his bed. He's not doing very well. Crichton comes to check on him, which very quickly sort of turns into a fight between them, and Chiana even tries to hey, now's not a good time.
Crichton, just leave him alone, okay?
And John goes, no, if he wants to get into it, let's get into it, and catches himself I didn't come here to fight.
Came to see how you are.
Well, we've already covered that. Is there anything else?
And nothing gets resolved between them. They're still bitter toward each other. And I find this a bit hard to, why is John so unsupportive?
Yes.
And why is Dargo so unforgiving? Even for their personalities, it just seems like a lot.
I guess it works for the plot.
Speaking of plot.
In the vault, Rigel is having some difficulty getting out of the statue that he's in.
1, get out of statue. 2, use gadget to retrieve prize. 3, jump into containers full of riches. Problem is, step 1. The blue bitch said this would be easy.
And then he has to climb around, which, hey, by the way, a puppet climbing a ladder?
Yeah.
I'm nobody's puppet.
That is a feat of...
He's not even climbing a ladder. He's just climbing the rails or whatever the lighting fixture is, which is for some unclear reason still burning. The lights are still on in this pod. Which,
convenient, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, apparently the operator for Rigel's puppet, Matt McCoy, nearly fell to his death at one point.
Damn.
He was braced up here, and I mean, these are huge sets once again, and at one point he overbalanced, and he had one hand was up Rigel and the other one was holding the Rigel controller, both of which cost 20 billion Australian dollars. And he was sort of tilting over a story and a half drop, and all he had to brace himself was his head. So he sort of smacked his head against the superstructure, sort of wedged himself back.
Some help here, please.
Yeah.
Yes. Rigel climbs through a conveniently located hatch at the top of the pod.
It's nice that they have
Starts waving his PKE meter around.
What?
PKE meter, it's that like thingy from Ghostbusters.
Oh, okay. Wait.
Yeah, PKE meter is what it's called. Kinetic energy meter.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. I thought you meant a peacekeeper E-meter. And that because the E-meter is the bullshit thing from Scientology, where the FDA required them to say on the label that it does nothing because it doesn't. Okay, so this ambiguous device, which may be either Ghostbusters or Scientology. Okay, so the goal is for him to find a different pod to be in and then swap the identity chips.
Which kind of gets glossed over because we never see him do anything except sit outside the hatch.
Yes.
That was like a bit of a weak element in this episode. I mean, I grokked what happened.
But only after it was complete, because
exactly.
once the pod is being summoned, which happens in a bit, we aren't sure whether he's in the right one or the wrong one.
We never see him swapping from one pod to the other. We just see him falling back down after the pod suddenly starts zooming ahead after Zahn recalls it.
All he's got to do is switch containers. He gets it right. I got one big kiss for him.
But fortunately, apparently, everything worked out. Even the fact that Rigel sort of fell back inside and is awkwardly almost visible in his underpants, by the way.
Yeah, underrobes, I would say.
Yes, very good. He's, as the Uncharted Territories book observed, like he's decided to forego the Y-fronts that he had when he was frozen.
Yes, I remember those.
Thank God It's Friday again, and he's got these...
That's not an image that I wanted back in my head. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. And now he's got these orange underclothes. Orange, the nice contrast to his ecclesiastic purple.
While the pod is being retrieved, John is snuck back into Natira's quarters, where he finds Scorpius's little case of glow sticks.
Yeah, that's something that he was doing while observing in the observation room.
What are you doing?
Doing what guys do best. I'm looking for Baywatch. Better yet, the Discovery Channel.
He was also keeping an eye on what Scorpius and Natira were doing.
Because earlier he asked for Zahn to create some sort of paste or something that would react with heat. And when he says react...
I mean explode.
So even though his head should be in the game and he should be focusing on this heist, as Aaron tries to encourage him to do, he is also just looking for an opportunity to kill Scorpius. And he sees that opportunity when Scorpius and Tira leave their boudoir, but without the case with all the...
Yes, and Aaron goes like, oh, you want revenge? He goes, no, I don't want revenge, I just want to kill him. Which I thought was a great line.
It's justice.
Yeah.
And she supports him. She knows that there is it's not quite right, but she's still got his back, which I guess is the good and the bad side of having a close relationship with someone.
Yeah.
That you'll have their back even when they're making a mistake.
Yes, he slathers the cooling rod with the paste.
He tries to.
Oh, yes.
Go. I'm gonna let you go away. Shh.
But
he can't. He's like being like the Scorpius mind chip is like preventing him from doing that. And it's actually, again, Aaron who takes over and is like, all right, I'll do it.
I can do this.
Come, John, I won't let you.
No, you can't. Give it to me.
So apparently she doesn't have that many problems actually going ahead and killing Scorpius.
She's got his... She doesn't care about Scorpius, obviously. She's got his back, and then like he's sort of hovering around her like a junkie.
Come on, Aaron. Come on.
Waiting for his fix. Like, come on, do it. Yeah. Rubbing his hands together. So
even though
excited.
He can't do it himself, yeah.
They hear people arriving so quickly they have to shut it. And time for D&D Gambit number 2.
Jump behind the couch.
Jump behind the couch and hug each other down behind the couch.
Sneak a kiss even.
Do they?
I think so.
Ooh, I mean, well, fair enough.
Maybe not. Maybe they do, maybe they don't.
Doesn't seem like the time, but it never is.
Kind of like right up against it, so...
And the person who picks up the case doesn't notice them right there.
Yes.
Right there on the other side of that... Oh, whatever.
She does say that Scorpius is burning through his cooling rods too quickly.
Yes, this is because she has inserted the
Goopy
jellyfan...
rod, yeah.
Say that again.
The Goopy rod?
Yeah, okay. She inserts the Goopy rod. You heard Kay say it first. I'm just repeating it for the record here. And yes, that apparently already starts reacting with his brain and not cooling him down quite as much as it ought to. And this is where things generally start falling apart.
Yes.
I mean, it's hard to say which one thing causes everything to fall apart, but
they kind of all start going wrong at the same time.
I mean, it was one of these synopses that it's not wholly the crew's fault, and I think that's kind of fair.
You can do everything right and still fail, that's life, as I believe is a Picard expression.
Very good, because, around this time, Stark's intrusion is being detected.
Frill!
And also, Zan and Chiana are trying to wheel back their enormous crates of stolen loot.
Yes, Natira and Scorpius discover that there's been a swap in pods.
They discover that his loot has been stolen. Natira is strangely not that upset.
Which is kind of weird, because, what do you mean his loot has been stolen? Oh, I guess that's the gold bars that she was, procuring for Scorpius.
Yes. And then, and Braca asked...
And where are you stealing them from?
Do you care?
No.
Which seems interesting, because it seemed... Because right at the beginning, Stark already had a plan to steal these particular things, because you can see the little hexagonal gold bricks, let's call them for the time being, on his originally planned ingots. Yeah. And now suddenly they were planning to steal those, and Natira was planning to give those to Scorpius. So I'm again.
Oh, that is very good. Yes, he had already identified that there was Scorpius wealth on there, but she'd already seized that and didn't know that Scorpius was alive, and so there wouldn't be anything on the records because she'd already spent it.
Yes,
and she didn't assign anything for Scorpius until after he'd arrived. Very good. Okay.
So, shenanigans.
You are really good at this.
Well, thank you.
Oh, wait, hold on. Are you saying that this was intentional or this was an oversight?
Well...
Is this a plot hole or is this plot?
Ooh, I don't know. It's I would almost say, okay, so
actually,
hang on.
Hold on. I can't fake this.
Okay.
I have given this away to you already.
It's a plot hole. It might be a plot hole, yeah.
I'm not gonna mess with you like that. Certainly not when I've
Fair enough. Thank you. I
given it away.
appreciate that. But yeah, there's a little bit of shenanigansisms when Stark is discouraging them from using his open any door key because that will identify their location, which he could have mentioned the first time round, but
which they need because everybody is trapped behind security doors.
Everything goes into
the whole
lockdown,
thing is on lockdown because Scorpius has asked Natira, okay, well, what happened? And she says, well, there was a Delvian woman. She must have done the stealing. Who was with her?
Yeah.
A Nabari, a
Luxon, and
a Sebastian, and another Sebastian.
And Scorpius immediately goes hang on, that's just a little bit too much coincidence.
Right, and lock it down. And it gets locked down. They try to override it. Zan and Chi are pushing around this huge stack of flight crates. It looked like the sort of AV department for a furry con.
Yes,
bringing in the lasers.
Or maybe just the people bringing in their fursuits.
Aaron,
what?
If Scorpius gets me...
I know, shoot you.
No, shoot him.
John tries to, take the opportunity to confess his feelings towards Aaron, who's having none of it.
It's a really good scene, though, because he
I really want to tell you, and I really don't. And I don't know if she's cock-blocking herself again.
No, listen to it. We'll play it again here.
Look, we have to talk.
Not here. You'll get us both killed.
Aaron, I have to tell you how I feel. I have to tell you.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do. I do.
No, you don't.
She knows.
Oh, okay.
She doesn't need him to say it. She knows.
You're right. But, okay, yeah, I didn't read that into it.
I totally did.
Yes.
Okay, because this is, all her behavior throughout this, I know you're acting crazy.
Yeah.
And she respects him, she loves him enough to still support him, even though she knows that he's acting crazy. Because that's what you do for someone that you care about that much. That's how far they've come. And that's why he doesn't need to say it. She doesn't say it.
No. But
she doesn't expect him to...
But why doesn't she let him say it anyway? That's what I'm kind of worrying about.
Same reason she doesn't say it.
Yeah, fair enough.
We've seen how they are in the Locket. They could spend the next 100 years together and they still wouldn't tell each other.
No, okay, fair point.
Sorry, I don't mean to sort of step over you, but
you
I
have a
think
good point.
this is one moment where your paranoia is maybe unwarranted.
Fair enough. No, you
Go
have a
with
good
the
point.
romance.
Okay. So, yes, they get interrupted by a couple of guards who get taken out immediately. And I thought this was kind of cute because John has a plan, like take their clothes, like his usual plan.
D&D Gambit number 3. We just knock out some guards and change into their clothes.
But what I kind of like about it, that it kind of gets subverted. Because before they actually manage to get into the clothes, more guards show up.
He's still trying to convince no Wills to put them. Oh, whatever. And he throws the armor at one of them.
Get our clothes off.
You two, hold it!
And yells,
They went that way!
They went that way. Zan and Chiana have a bit more success with their gambit because Zan and Chiana each take another one of those pills, and Rigel goes, "Oh, I don't get one."
Bill the Rigel. Of course not. When did anyone think of me?
And just as they're surrounded by guards, she drops another one of the gas canisters.
Which
with
works.
The new improved mixture, which knocks them out instantly.
Yep, I told you I had to fix it.
Yes.
Oh, I love it when a plan comes together.
Stupid plan.
Very stupid plan.
So now all they have to do is get all the goods back on board Moya and lock the doors behind them.
Yes.
Which Crichton says, "Oh, I'll do that. You help them load that."
Mm-hmm.
Aaron, you help them load. I'm going to go seal the doors.
No, reverse that, John. You do this, I'll do that.
And Crichton refuses, and I think this is where Aaron makes a huge mistake. Like she accepts it. She's gotten too used to supporting Crichton, where there's there's really not, like, you know, she hasn't really rejected his plans before, like she tries here, and she still lets him override her. So he stays behind to lock all the doors in the sort of empty visitor center. But he's not quick enough. The last one, before it completely shuts, a peacekeeper comes in, tries to block it where he can barely hold it.
Yes.
And then Braca comes up behind him.
And there's a bit of knocking out. The other guy gets crunched in the door.
That's his own dude.
Yeah, I know.
He elbows his own dude to crush his body to serve as a door jam so he can climb through.
Gets clobbered by John.
Hey, Braca. Tell me, is the rematch ever better than the original fight?
But Scorpius shows up and starts throwing John around.
Effortlessly
showing a
pushes
little
the
bit of
door
that
aside.
Scarran strength.
Yeah, he's had trouble like controlling even his voice
Yes.
while he's overheating.
The assistant shows up and even while he is holding John down, initiates the beginning of the cooling rod swap.
Oh, what's the matter, Scorpy? You don't look too good.
Neither do you, Crichton.
I got a piece of you and me, now you got a piece of me and you.
Change it. Change it now.
Removing the Jellyfan pasted rod just before it explodes.
Yes, unfortunately. She gets the full brunt of it. We don't know if she dies or not, but she does not look in good state. Left.
When your face is burnt like that in a sci-fi show, you're dead.
Fair point.
If you don't have a name.
Yeah, leaving Scorpius with the whole mechanism sticking out of the side of his head.
Drooling pus.
Yes, I
out of his
noticed that.
mouth
Ugh.
is so gross.
And from the mechanism as well. And he tries to get John to put the cooling rod in.
You cannot let me die any more than I can sacrifice you.
That's what you're telling me in my head. But I think I'll give it a shot.
And John is really fighting it. He just not want to do it because he knows that like he can kill Scorpius like this.
Scorpius has just been taunted into monologuing and explaining verbally to John what we already learned.
Yes.
What the hell did you put in my head?
Some awareness. A neurobiotracer. Call it
What you like.
A tiny chip. A tiny seed that's been growing in your brain. Touching every aspect of your personality, your memory.
Didn't happen to see Lieutenant Johnson, did you?
And whispering advice. I trust. It's helped save you once or twice since escaping my gamut place.
So this time he can remember it.
Hopefully.
Yeah, because it's not being erased while it's being said to him. Clearly, Scorpius wants him to know. It's got a neural clone in there, lots of handy little, like it's probably saved your
Little
life.
mind control, yes.
And mine a few times.
Yes, interesting little boast of him there. But John manages to actually not do it and go crawling away, singing the Star-Spangled Banner as he does it.
Now inside the rod. Get it inside the round.
Oh, say, can you see?
I command you to help me. John Crichton, I command you to help me.
That was another Ben Browder sort of
improvisation.
Originally, like, the line was "Get out of my head, Scorpy," and he just started singing. It was an improvised thing. He didn't expect the director to go for it. Had to do 15 takes of it to get it right.
Yeah.
Because hey, if you do something right, we're gonna do it again. What an incredible scene, because, I mean, okay, there's a lot of jokes about this particular GIF, and let's certainly have fun with it, where a leather sort of daddy is holding this all-American boy down. They're both very sweaty and close, and he's yelling, insert the rod, insert the rod, insert the rod. You're not my type, but...
There's been a few comments about, like, yeah, one being inside the other.
But, wow, the intensity of this scene.
Insert the rod. Insert it. Insert the rod.
You're really not my type. Die! You grotesque bastard! Even me, I die too.
Neither one of us can die.
The struggle that Crichton goes through to resist, he's being torn apart. So is Scorpius as well. It's so intense.
Yeah,
and all he can do is crawl away.
And we see Scorpius like trying to crawl towards the cooling rod, which he doesn't quite reach before the
fade to black.
Fade to black. And of course, Scorpius isn't going to die like this. He's going to be back.
You're going to bet some points on that?
100 points. That this Scorpius did not die here, but that's too easy. I wouldn't do that. That's like, come on. Scorpius has plot armor. I don't like...
See, if you're going to be this critical about yourself, then you're never going to win any points. Like, if you only take the dangerous ones...
Well, that's what makes it fun, isn't it? Like,
okay,
I'm not here to make... I'm not here to make fun bucks. I'm here to, like, have fun.
While we were watching this, you were already yelling, to be continued, but
no, there was a few more minutes left in the episode. There's
always a button. Rigel is sort of gloating over the ingots with Chiana when Zan, back in her robes, announces, hey, we already agreed, nobody's counting anything until we've completed the transaction.
We get the slaves freed, or specifically Dargo's Zan.
No, all of them, because they're being sold as a lot of 10,000.
Right, yes.
Yeah, so
But they don't really care about the other 9,999. They just care about Dargo's son.
And meanwhile, Aaron and John are having... a
little heart-to-heart.
Sort of coming down, where she continues to be supportive and concerned, and he's like finally sort of letting go, and he's finally sort of giving up pretending in front of her and letting him hug her. And
yes.
The one thing that he does want her to know is...
Aaron, I meant what I said. Didn't say.
Didn't say.
Yeah.
And she knows.
She does.
And that would have been such a lovely place to end. Like,
she does look a little bit pained there as well.
This would have even been a great place to end the season, right?
Yeah, I suppose so. If you wanted to do one of those Star Trek double-parters which span the end of one and the beginning of the other season, which they had a habit of doing for a while.
That is true.
Yeah.
Keep them wanting more. And then we pan through the cargo bay. At first, I wasn't quite sure what room they were in, but it's the maintenance area in the cargo bay, and we pan over the fursuit flight cases full of hexagonal ingots, and one of them extends its legs.
Yeah, many of them do, because the other crates are shaking, and finally we get to an open crate, and then one of them, it kind of folds open, and we have like a money spider coming out.
Money spider, which shoots acid.
Apparently so, yes.
And now to be continued.
Yes, we're going back to next week's episode. A not so simple plan. I mean, it was a kind of simple plan. It was just execution was convoluted.
Yeah.
But then again,
you
can reduce
everything.
You can kind of reduce everything to that if you go far enough.
Apparently, A Simple Plan was a novel that I don't know and a Sam Raimi film that I don't know.
Oh,
and
okay.
Liars, Guns, and Money was a Warren Zevon song. Apparently, Warren Zevon is a name that I've heard before. It seems to be some kind of a musician popular among nerds.
Oh.
Not one I'm terribly familiar with.
I can't say I've ever heard the name before.
I'm sure we'll be educated by our plucky band of misfits.
She gives me a Woody.
She gives you the willies.
Willies and Woodies.
Oh, dear.
It is that time.
It is that time. Okay, my willy either goes out to Chiana being her little parrot, I suppose, that she can call. I really love
that. That's your willy?
Shorter.
Oh, sorry, Woody. Did I say willy?
Yeah.
Oh, my Woody, sorry.
Okay, good.
Or maybe Zahn's screwdriver.
Her Grafcheck, as we learned in a fan fiction
Apparently
recently.
It is called a Grafcheck, yes. She's got the fanciest screwdriver that I have ever seen before.
It's a really good point. While she was sort of preparing the Jellyfan paste or the gas or whatever, yeah.
It's kind of got this leafy extension at the end with all these channels cut into it, making it look very fancy.
Yeah, no wonder it's called, it has a different word in whatever.
Yes.
Thanks once again to Kathy for recommending that fantastic fanfic reading. We do a bunch of those on our Patreon, and that particular one, in case you missed it, we did a sort of feed drop at the end of 218 A Clockwork Nabari. Oh. And your willy.
Oh, my willy. Oof,
yeah,
that's
tricky.
Tough one. I didn't really have any massive willies here.
Okay, well, fine. So since you went with the Grafcheck, I can give my Woody to Chiana as the sort of parrot, as the sort of little Iago on the shoulder of the Grand Vizier. And my Willy goes to John and Darko. Their relationship.
Yes.
I felt betrayed. I felt that this sort of conflict between them betrayed the depth of their friendship. That should have required much, much more work to break down the way it did. It went too quick for me.
Okay, and in that case, my willy will be... I mean, it's not as a thing that I think was wrong, but a thing that still made me feel uncomfortable, would have been Stark's behavior. Because I'm still on the... I still think Stark is not acting like Stark. So that's definitely something that kept coming back to during the episode. It kept feeling to me like something is up there. There's something rotten in the state of the uncharted territories.
Something is rotten in the bannock.
Yeah. Very good.
The state of the bannock. Oh, very, very good, Kay. I'm really excited to see how things turn out when we return next week with the continuation of Liars, Guns, and Money. And that's the story so far, Farscape.
We'll see you next week in episode 220 with Friends Like These.
Yes.
In which the crew's got the blues, so it's time to put the band back together. Or rather, an unstoppable supergroup.
Yes!
Playing all the hits of seasons past, but will it turn out like Ocean's 12 or The Dirty Dozen?
Thank you to everyone who submitted synopses for 220. That was a little bit of a sort of hybrid of all of them put together. We're really excited to see how it turns out. If you want to submit a synopsis of your own for an upcoming episode, hey, season 3's coming up fast. You can do that at sofarscape.com/submit. And if you'd like to contribute to the Patreon and help keep the lights on and get some of those cool fanfics and GIF packs that we're sharing, you can sign up for our Patreon at sofarscape.com/support. Starts at $1. Everybody gets the same stuff. We absolutely love you. I'm Kaki.
I'm Kay.
So Farscape, so good.